And I will be speaking about how accents affect the way you're eligible for jobs as well as the way you're perceived as a human being. A few weeks ago, I walked into a McDonald's and I got in line, and the person in front of me turned to me and said, "Oh, I done ordered. You can go on ahead." And he said it really friendly, and I appreciated the sentiment. But I thought to myself, my gosh, I hope he never wants to get a job where he's going to make more than minimum wage, because with that accent, they're never going to believe that he has an education. And I thought to myself, is this a thing that other people think, or is this just me being a judgmental human being? And I found there's actually an entire study called social linguistics, which is all about how accents affect the way you are perceived by other people. Social linguistics, as defined by English professor Connie Ebel in a PBS special called Do You Speak American back in 2005, defines social linguistics as the study of how language serves and is shaped by the social nature of human beings. In its broadest conception, social linguistics analyzes the many and diverse ways in which language and society intertwine. An additional study done by Robert Delaney of Long Island University wrote an article called A Dialect Map of American English. And in this article, he actually made a picture of the United States, and he colored in different areas by their dialects. And so you have up south, New York, in that kind of state, Minnesota, etc., they all had one color. Down here in the south, we had another color. Tennessee had its own shade of blue, I believe, to represent the fact that we are especially southern and redneck sounding in our speech. He also went into detail about the difference between an accent and a dialect. Now, an accent, on one hand, is the way you pronounce certain words. So that would be saying something like, "You can go on ahead," as opposed to, "you can go on ahead." A dialect, on the other hand, actually refers to different words and different phraseology. An example of this would be in the northern states of America. You have people who will ask for a carbonated beverage, and they'll say, "I would like a pop." And then they'll say, "What kind?" And they'll tell them. Here in the South, you ask for a Coke. It doesn't matter if you want a Pepsi product, you ask for a Coke. And then they'll ask you, "What kind of Coke?" And you'll say, "A Pepsi." In the North, if you ask for a Coke, they will bring you a Coca-Cola. Joan Houston Hall from Newsweek in an article spoke about the Dictionary of American Regional English, which she was the assistant editor for in the writing. The Dictionary of American Regional English can be abbreviated as DARE. The DARE volumes essentially are a list of words and phrases used in individual areas across the country. There was actually one instance where they used a DARE volume to locate a kidnapper who, in the ransom note, used a phrase that was native to a very, very small town in Texas. And so they were able to actually narrow it down from the DARE volume, go straight to that town, ask around, and they found him within, I think, a week, even though he was actually kidnapped a child from a different state. And finally, on an article on PBS.org called Standard American English, they speak about the accent, which can be defined as the lack of an accent. And this is an accent found in mid-America usually, and also if you really want to find a good example of this, go listen to any news broadcasts and any actor speaking when they're not playing a role. A lot of times you'll find that news reporters especially, and actors especially, will take accent reduction classes to learn standard American English, which is, again, the lack of an accent. It's a very clear tone, and this is one that often is perceived as being intelligent and is often perceived as not being native to a specific area. No one will know where you're from if you speak standard American English. And so my argument is that you should take the time to learn standard American English, because under these circumstances, people will judge you not by the way you speak. You're not going to say, "Hey, can I have a job?" And they're going to think, "My gosh, I hope not." Instead, you're going to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm interested in a job." And because of the way you present yourself, because of the way you carry yourself, because of the way, mainly just the way your speech leaves your mouth and comes to their ears, they're going to perceive you differently than they would have if you had a very thick regional accent.